What's up guys, Lvladen here, and today I'm coming at you with a video on the War Within Alpha. We are taking a second look at Templar, and well, I guess second look on YouTube, but I've been spamming a bunch of different builds playing Templar Paladin, and actually, I have a favorite. I have a favorite now, and it was really, like, up until today, it was honestly tied between Herald of Sun and Templar. I really enjoy both play styles, and I think I'll play a lot of both. But now Templar with this build has edged out the Herald of Sun, in my opinion, in terms of fun. And let me explain why. So there are a number of different synergistic builds that you can go with both specs, and even multiple synergistic builds that you can go within the Templar build. And what I mean by that are talents that play into other talents that are either already in the Paladin talent tree or the Retribution talent tree. The first example that I'm going to give right here is playing with Zealous Vindication, Divine Purpose, and Sanctification, along with Divine Toll and Divine Resonance. Now, let me explain the idea behind this build here. So with this build, I play 1 minute wings, and obviously a lot of tuning is going to be happening going into beta and towards the end of beta. Early alpha, it's, you know, kind of up in the air what is really going to be strong. But the way that these talents all work well together is they allow you to get off frequent Hammer of Lights and reset your Hammer of Light as fast as possible with Light's Deliverance with procs from both Zealous Vindication. So Hammer of Light calls down an additional 2 Empyrean Hammers. So that means that Hammer of Light cast by Wake of Ashes is going to automatically give you 2 stacks of Light's Deliverance. And we're going to get more stacks of Light's Deliverance even faster with Divine Purpose. And honestly, like, it delays your burst too much by running Crusade here. And obviously it all depends in arenas, how damp the game is, if we're going to need to run Crusade, or we can actually get away with running the 10% wings. So in PvP, Avenging Wrath Might is nerfed in half, but crit is back. Crit is now a really important stat for us. And it's buffed. So Adjudication buffs our critical strikes. Our Mastery, I'm pretty sure our Mastery can crit as well. At least from what I've seen on the target dummies. And I mean, this is to be determined if it's going to change or not. And then we can play Judge, Jury, Executioner, because Judgment's now doing a lot of damage. And by the way, by pressing Judgment, we are able to keep this buff called Sanctification up even longer. So Sanctification increases the damage of our Empyrean Hammers, which is not Hammer of Light. It's the secondary effects from Hammer of Light here. So we have this buff called Shake the Heavens. Shake the Heavens can be extended by pushing Hammer of Wrath and Blade of Justice. And if you're running regular Crusading Strike or Templar, or if you're running Crusader Strike or Templar Strikes, then you can extend it that way as well. I currently don't, and Crusading Strikes does not extend Shake the Heavens at the moment. But during our lights, our Hammer of Light, we get this buff, and we can make this buff Shake the Heavens last longer and hit harder by doing our normal rotation, and then we can reset it even faster by running Divine Purpose. So let me show you guys what the damage rotation would look like with this build here. Alright, so say we're just getting into PvP combat, you're about to set up your burst here. I'm going to go ahead and push a Blade of Justice into a Hodge, Wings, Wake of Ashes, and into a Light's Hammer. And by the way, Light's Hammer is then going to give us Judgment on the target. And it's going to give me, in theory, it should give me 2 stacks of Judgment because of High Lord's Wrath, due to Undisputed ruling right here. And then gives me Haste. After that, I'm going to, actually, I'm sorry, I missed one step. We're going to Blade of Justice into Hammer of Justice, Wings, Wake of Ashes, Final Reckoning, then we're going to Hammer of Light. Because Hammer of Light, for some reason right now, and I'm pretty sure it's bugged, Final Reckoning is the only damage modifier that is actually working on Hammer of Light. And then Hammer of Light is also kind of wonky with Divine Purpose. Like, the free cast of Light's Deliverance also consumes the Divine Purpose, but then it doesn't actually, like, cost any holy power, but it shouldn't cost any holy power, so it shouldn't consume Divine Purpose, but it does anyway. I'm sure it's just a bug at the moment. All right, so let me show you what it looks like here. So we are going to Blade of Justice, Hammer of Wrath, or Hammer of Justice, Wings, Wake of Ashes into a Final Verdict, Hammer of Light, Divine Toll, Final Verdict, and then we're going to try and keep up our Empyrean Legacy as long as we can by rotating between Blade of Justice and Hammer of Wrath while trying not to overcap Holy Power. And then we have our Divine Toll during our burst with our Divine Resonance, maintaining our Judgment stacks on the target, and also the Sanctification buff to Empyrean Hammer. So it's really important that we run Divine Toll and Divine Resonance during our burst window, because during that burst window we don't want to be using Judgment. We want to be using our Hammer of Wrath or our Blade of Justice so we can extend Shake the Heavens longer, but we also want to maintain the increased damage on Sanctification, which we are able to do by having Divine Resonance. So this talent right here automatically becomes like really, really strong with this build here. So I'll run it by one more time here. All right, we're gonna Blade of Justice, Hodge, Wings, Wake of Ashes, Final Reckoning into a Hammer of Light, Divine Toll, Final Verdict, and then we go into our maintenance phase of our Shake the Heavens buff, rotating between Hammer of Wrath, Final Verdict, and Blade of Justice, while all trying not to overcap on Holy Power. And I actually, whoops, I wasn't really paying attention to my buffs. If anyone was looking at my Wake of Ashes, I actually did proc that 60 stack Light's Deliverance Hammer of Light. And by the way, it expires, so I actually missed my opportunity to press the button because I was not paying attention to it. So that's actually gonna have to be something that we look to. Honestly, I'll probably make a weak order for it. But yeah, I mean, this rotation is so fun. All the hammers falling from the sky, and I know a lot of people are concerned about like hammers falling, but they fall so quickly that I don't know. It doesn't really bother me. I suppose the animation could be swords. Maybe eventually they'll make a glyph and just call it Empyrean Swords instead of Empyrean Hammers. Like, I don't think it really matters that much, but I think it's cool. Alright, right here I'm going to show you guys what happens when we have Wake of Ashes off cooldown, but also we reach the 60 stacks of Light's Deliverance for the free Hammer of Light. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to try and proc my stacks right here, and each Final Verdict gives me a stack. So now we're at 60 stacks, but Wake of Ashes has not turned into the Hammer of Light. You actually have to get Wake of Ashes on cooldown, and then you can use your Hammer of Light. So Wake of Ashes here, there's the free Hammer of Light. Boom, free Hammer of Light. And give it one global cooldown, and now we have the Wake of Ashes Hammer of Light. And what's happening here is there's a little bit of a lag time in between the Hammer of Lights, at least that I've noticed. It's about like one global cooldown. I'm not sure if that is a bug or intended, but in theory, you can get double Hammer of Lights on the target back to back. Like, you can save up 60 stacks, wait for your Wake of Ashes to come off cooldown, have a Wings ready, like Hodge the target, Wings, Final Reckoning, into a Wake of Ashes, and then you're going to get your free use of your Light's Deliverance Hammer of Light, and then you can Divine Toll immediately for like a bunch of Holy Power, and then you'll use your basic Light's Deliverance, the one that actually costs the Holy Power. So you can absolutely crank people back to back with Light's Hammers, and I'm sure that's going to be a really fun tool to use in PvP if you get good at managing your Light's Deliverance. And it's another reason why I actually think I'm going to prefer the 1 minute wings, not just for the crit, but for the fact that you don't have to stack up Crusade. If you do have an opportunity to see that 60 stacks, like, you can just hold off a little bit on your Wake of Ashes and line it up with Wings pretty much every time you want to get that back-to-back Light's Hammer. So I'm really excited for this build. Everything feels really good. Now, let me talk about the last, or not the last, but the next build I foresee being pretty good for Templar here. All right, so I'm going to swap up the talents here. So we're going to go For Whom the Bell Tolls, and we're going to go Endless Wrath, and then we're going to go Vengeful Wrath right here. On the side over here for the Retribution tree, you don't really have to change too much. You could, in theory, always go Vanguard of Justice if you wanted. I'm I'm not too sold on Vanguard of Justice at the moment, because I do think for Templar, you want to be pushing Final Verdict as much as you can so you can get those Hammer of Light resets. But, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how our damage breakdown looks going into, you know, further into the alpha here. So with this build, the idea behind this build is taking advantage of Vengeful Wrath while also getting more resets on your Hammer of Wrath here. So this talent, Endless Wrath, calling down an Empyrean Hammer has a 10% chance to reset the cooldown of Hammer of Wrath and make it usable on any target regardless of HP. Great. We already have that with Final Verdict. So what this basically does is it gives us a 25% chance on a normal Final Verdict to reset and make usable a Hammer of Wrath on any target. So we get more frequent access to Hammer of Wrath. However, during our burst, Shake the Heavens is going to reset the Empyrean Hammer even more. So with this, you'll be able to maintain the, in theory, you should be able to maintain Shake the Heavens a little bit longer. And then, I mean, it's like kind of up in the air if you should still be taking Zealous of Vindication, because we're losing 2 stacks, an immediate 2 stacks off of our Light's Guidance by not taking Zealous of Vindication here. But For Whom the Bell Tolls allows you to deal more damage with your consistent damage. And I think that's kind of what this build would be catered to. A little bit higher damage outside of your Templar windows here. So your Divine Toll, if it's on less targets, so it's always going to be more damage, but it's going to be less burst damage the more targets that you hit. At least that's the way that I'm interpreting it here. So let's see if we can get a 5-stack Divine Toll, and we'll see how much it actually increases the damage by. So I'm within range of a bunch of targets, so we're getting a 5-stack. Yep, 5 Holy Power. So where's it here? For Whom the Bell Tolls. So if you are hitting 5 stacks, 5 targets, your judgment is only going to be increased by 20%, which is really not that much. But single target, you're getting 3 judgments that do the equivalent damage of a Divine Toll single target. So it can be bursty, but it is situational. And in PvP, a lot of the times you're not really going to have that 1v1 potential, I guess. But I mean, in single target boss encounters, maybe For Whom the Bell Tolls is really good. It remains to be seen. Endless Wrath, I'm not entirely sold on, but I do feel the difference of the reset chance when I am running it. So it feels pretty good. All right, for the remainder of the video, I'm just going to show a little bit of gameplay. Spoiler alert, if you do not want to see the introductory quests, I would probably click off here. I mean, they're probably going to change them a lot too, but yeah, there's your warning. All right, enjoy.
Hey there.
Thank you, champion. I got the wool pulled over my eyes. Literally.
The way forward will not be easy.
For Azeroth.
A just cause is always worth fighting for.